Hello, Bournemouth fans, and welcome to episode 7 in the series, the AFC Bournemouth Best 11, the Eddie Howe years. And in this video, we're going to complete that midfield. We're going to do the centre midfield. But before we do that, if you haven't checked out the other episodes yet, you can do this in the playlist in the channel or at the top of the screen. Also, if you're not a subscriber to the channel yet, come on. We want to get to 500. So hit that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell to be notified when new content is out. And if you enjoy the next 20 or 25 minutes, give us a like as well. Episode 7 then. Let's complete that midfield and get our AFC Bournemouth guests on. And returning contributors, we've got Aaron. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm very good, thanks, guys. Nice to see you both.
And this is a nice, easy one. Steve, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Yeah, just got over last night, but I'm all right.
We know the rules by now. We're going to go through each video. We're going to try and complete a best 11 team from the Eddie Howe years. We're going to have players that are going to miss out, but there are going to be 4 contenders. And the 4 contenders on this one for the centre midfield that we will debate will be Danny Hollands, Jeff Lerma, Andrew Surman, and Harry Arter. However, Aaron, there could have been a lot more, but we are going to keep to the theme, and that is 4. So tell us about some other players that have not made the cut, and I'll show some of the names on the screen.
Yeah, I mean, there were so many for this. When we were trying to talk through who the 4 were going to be, we could have been there all year. Some personal favourites for me: Anton Robinson, Marvin Bartley, Sean McDonald, and of course Mark Molesley, who was playing on the wing a bit, but played quite a lot in centre midfield. So yeah. Basically, any of them ultimately at the end of the day. But with us on our journey, and so many of them, Kane as well. You could look at all of those names, and all of them, well, most of them, I'd say, had a good case for making the 4.
In that list, then, Steve, I mean, what do you like? I mean, I know you're probably looking at Lee Tomlin, and you wish he was in the contender list.
How did I know you were going to say that? But yeah, there's some. Do you know what? There's some big names in there, isn't there? I mean, Lewis Cook's unfortunate to miss out. Dan Gosling, like Aaron said, they're all players that have been, fundamental to our rise in one way, shape, or another. There's some other ones that were obviously didn't really make the grade. Emerson Hensman comes to mind. I remember watching him a few times, thinking he had promise, but never really broke into the team, purely for some of the class that was in front of him. Jack Wilshere, obviously massively talented midfielder, who we've been very blessed to see play at Dean Court. Jack Collison was another one. He's a great player at West Ham, but just dogged by injuries, and unfortunate for him that his career it ended up going the way it did. But I think the 4 we've ended up with are certainly right up there.
Phil Bill only made the list, but we love you, Phil Bill, as well. We know we've got a few subscribers that do love Phil Billing. Remember as well that we need to keep it clean throughout the show. So I've got my yellow card if I need it. I've got my red card as well. We're going to go to the wheel in just a moment then, Aaron, but I've got the coin. I don't know why. Who uses a £1 coin when they do a coin toss? But there we go. Aaron, heads or tails?
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. And it didn't. It's a tails. So do you want to go first, second, or do you want to change ends?
I'll put Steve into that, please.
Oh, lovely. So we're going to go over to the wheel.
That's not a good idea. I'm a bowler.
Exactly.
For the first time on this show then, Steve, you're going first. And let's spin that wheel.
Come on, then.
Which favourite colour?
Blue.
Oh, maybe.
Oh.
And first one up for you, Steve, is Sideways Surman. Take it away.
Wow. Andrew Surman. I think that's. I never really liked that mantle that he was given as sideways Surman. I always felt that he was so much more than that. He used to start off quite a lot of our attacks, getting that ball out wide to Huey and Richie. You know, captain. He was our vice captain. He never really put a foot wrong with whatever he did. He was so dependable as a player. Did we have him? We had him on loan. Did we have him on loan? Yeah, we had him on loan really early on in his career, didn't we?
Yeah.
Was that from Saints originally?
Yeah, 2005, 2006 loan, and then we signed him. I think it was another loan actually in 2013, and then turned into a signing from Norwich.
But yeah, I mean, just the sort of player we needed when we got into the Championship that was going to be solid, dependable, high energy. I mean, that sort of other partnerships that he had with Gosling and Arter. I mean, those guys would run all day long for you. I mean, and Eddie would, you know, he trusted him massively, and he never let us down. And he popped up with the odd goal, didn't he? I wish he would shoot a bit more at times, because he did have a good finish on him. But you knew what you got from Sirs, and he, like I say, he's never going to let you down, and he showed that in numerous occasions. I always felt when he got into the Premier League, I just felt he was a little bit behind the pace sometimes. Felt a bit sorry for him at Old Trafford when he got sent off in that game. That was the one that sort of sticks out in memory from him. But equally, he did score some really important goals for us. I seem to remember one where he sort of, I'm going to say, I don't know if it was Brighton or sort of Watford, one of those sorts of teams in the Premier League, where he just sort of skipped through a couple of players and then just laid a nice ball, you know, cultured finishes. They weren't sort of, you know, put your laces through it. He always seemed to sort of take his time and find his spot and finish nicely. So yeah, I don't know, what more can you say about him? He's a bit. I would put him up there with, you know, the legends of our club in our rise.
A couple of goals, like you said, I think there was 11 in total, Aaron, but a couple of goals that come to mind. I think Steve mentioned one I definitely can remember, Brighton. Was there also one at Sheffield Wednesday that comes to mind? Apart from his goals as well, though, probably up there as being one of the most ultimate pros you'd won at your football club.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's in a long line, the pattern here with the players that did Eddie so proud over his tenure were just ones who he's never going to get any trouble out of. Consummate professionals, no egos. I agree with Steve. You know, I think towards the end of his time here, he was behind the pace. He was never a really tough tackler. He was never going to fly into tackles. But he had a certain someone next to him who we're going to come on to who would do that for him. But he was calm on the ball. He was just always dependable, always found the right pass. And even if he did go sideways sometimes, he never gave the ball away. So, yeah, someone for me who just again synonymous with that era, just giving everything for the football club and just having some class about him.
And remember, don't give me any thumbs down. That is just a banter with a sideways Surman. So Andrew Surman is the first name discussed, and we're going to go back to the wheel. And who will be next? And it's you, Aaron. 3 left then, Aaron.
Yeah.
Who are you going to get? And you are going to get Danny Hollands in red. And Danny Hollands, I think we signed him from, well, I think he was like a schoolboy out of Chelsea that didn't get a deal. Lots of appearances, probably around 200. Cracking left foot, I can remember. Yeah, Danny Hollands, Aaron.
Yeah, I mean, they signed him when we were in League Two and played all of his games for us over 5 or 6 seasons, I think it was, in League One and League Two. And someone, you know, obviously not on the same level as the other 3 in this group, but someone who, you know, gave 100%. He was a box-to-box midfielder. He picked up goals. He would be someone who gave, you know, slid in, gave everything to the cause, never pulled out of a tackle, and you know, did definitely pick up some goals. You can see 24 goals over his time, and I think the biggest credit to him that I can possibly give is that I think we all agreed that out of all those other midfielders who are going to join the 3, who I think it'd be very hard to disagree with the other 3 in this group, he won it. He won that 4th spot, and you know, epitomizes everything about the journey beginning. Obviously, he came before Eddie came in, but that journey towards the end of his Bournemouth career, you know, in the lower leagues, and you know, absolutely pivotal, and played a pivotal part in that goal against Grimsby, that famous goal against Grimsby that Fletch scored, starting the move off. And I just got so much time for him. And I remember sitting actually away at Charlton. He'd left the club and he was sitting with us Bournemouth fans behind the goal. He came to watch us. Just got so much time for Danny Hollands. And again, you know, someone who predominantly watched Bournemouth in the lower leagues, he was up until the Championship Premier League era, one of my all-time favourite players and one of the best players I'd say we ever had at the club. And that's the ultimate credit I can give him. Prior to obviously, unlikely to have made that step up to the Championship, let alone the Premier League. But just in that lower leagues, everything you want from a midfielder.
You've talked about in previous episodes, Steve, about we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for players like Danny Hollands. Spent a lot of his Bournemouth career in League Two and League One, and then eventually went to Charlton. But yeah, you on Danny Hollands?
Yeah, I mean, much like what Aaron's just said, he for what we got, like you said, we got him for a free. He was heart on his sleeve every game. He was box to box, passionate. A bit too passionate sometimes. Seem to remember him getting sent off a couple of times, but you wouldn't take that away from his game because that's what made him the player he was. And like you say, I think it was close to 200 appearances. He popped up with 4 or 5 goals every season. Without that, he captained us for a little period before Jason Pearce, I think, took over from him. I think it was under Eddie. I'm not too sure, but I believe so. But yeah, I mean. Yeah, consummate professional. I mean, it's like we said, a lot of these players are, and where we were at the time, he was the dynamo. Him and Bartley in there at times, they would just run all day long, and they had quality at that level. They really did. And they went on to play at a higher level, both of them. So showed what Eddie obviously saw something in him. Coached him along, and they went on to better things.
That's Danny Hollands. Then we go back to the wheel decider on what 2 players are left, and who are you going to get? Is it Steve now?
It is.
Yeah,
Steve now. So is it going to be Jeff Lerma or Harry Arter? Pretty sure you're not going to be bothered, are you, Steve?
Oh no, I wanted Lee Tomlin.
Straight in there though is heart on his sleeve. What a player! Hard tackling Harry Arter for you, Steve.
There's nothing that can do him injustice, this guy, because he's Mr. Bournemouth to me. He cost us absolutely nothing. It was an absolute steal from Woking, nothing at all. He was there pretty much from, what was he? When was he? 2010. Yeah. So pretty much most of the journey, and performed at every level. And you got the exact same. I don't know the way to put it, but at every step up, he stepped up his performances. The amount of, I remember watching him play and just seeing him chase after player after player. Just to follow the ball around like a little terrier dog until he got it. Or he caused the mistake, and that's the sort of thing that gets the fans behind the player. Popped up with some superb goals. I seem to the one against Middlesbrough always springs to mind. I think there was another one against Watford, which I think was a 1-1 draw in the Championship away at Watford. He sort of smashed in from miles out, and then you saw the other side of him when obviously the awful situation that happened with him, and that game was probably one of against, I think it was Man United, wasn't it? And it was one of the most brilliant games I've ever seen him play. There's no words. He was a little bit petulant at times, but again, like I said about Hollands, you wouldn't take that away from him because he wouldn't be the player he was. How many appearances did he have? Over 200. So
over 200.
Again, sorry. He became an international player as well. Under Eddie and under Bournemouth, but when we got to the Premier League again, he performed to a level, but I think it was only a matter of time before he sort of slipped down the pecking order, which was a shame because fans love him. Everybody loves him.
just goes to show, Aaron. I mean, I think it was that Man United game. He had a terrible time personally in his life. Still put on that red and black shirt, went out and performed. Obviously, there was that hug with Eddie after the game as well. I mean, literally just the most amazing player to watch. You were on the edge of your seat when he got booked early on, and you were like, oh, come on, we need to keep 11 men on the pitch. But
two-footed player as well. Very, very, very good with both feet. Brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, that atmosphere at the Man United game, I think, was probably one of the best I've ever seen. It's just something, obviously, it was Man United at home. We'd beaten Chelsea the week before. The crowd was buzzing, and just Harry's performance was unbelievable. The biggest compliment I can pay him is in the early years, I used to say to my friends, no Arter, no win. If Harry wasn't in the team, I just didn't fancy it. You know, he, Steve said, he came on the journey right from the beginning, worked his way up with us. First 2 seasons in the Premier League, it was a constant. It was that 3rd season in the Premier League, didn't have so many appearances, and then he basically gave way for the gentleman who's coming next, take over his mantle. So, but yeah, the biggest compliment I can pay him, he was just gave everything, and he had so much about him. Steve's both-footed, score goals, can shoot, tackle, good in the air, and just gave absolutely everything. I loved it, absolutely loved it.
And in that championship season, we got promoted. So many goals that he scored that we've talked about. Everything he hit went in. I know he didn't really build on that in the Premier League years with AFC Bournemouth, but that promotion season, some of the goals he scored, like, you know, against Borough, they're all like 25-yarders every time. But yeah, what a player. Harry Arter. That leaves us with one player. We have to make sure that it's all done properly, don't we, Aaron? It's your turn now, isn't it? And it's going to leave our special Colombian. What a beautiful man he is.
He's looking even more beautiful with his new hairstyle in Spain. Great.
and in his new training kit. It is Jefferson Lerma.
I am Jefferson Lerma. I am very happy.
Aaron, what a player. Our record transfer for the club.
So obviously, as I said before, he came in our 4th season in the Premier League and basically took over Harry Arter, a role as the tough tackling, hard man in midfield. And to date has made over 100 appearances. Probably not got as many goals as he would have liked, but predominantly playing in that centre defence midfield role. And just took us up the next level. As we said, much as we loved Harry Arter, Jeff took us up to that next level. And one of the best midfielders, probably has to be one of the best midfielders we've ever had at the club. You know, it's a crazy thing to really be, you know, part of us for 3 seasons. And he just had everything, you know, his vision, his passing, his reading of the game, brilliant in the air, athleticism, you know, chasing back. Again, obviously picked up a hell of a lot of yellow cards, and then we were all worried for the rest of the game. You know, we always, you know, always said if he picked up an early yellow card that affects his game, he wasn't be able to perform as well as he could if he didn't get that yellow early on. But, you know, saved us so many times. You know, similar sort of taking up two positions in that midfield sometimes. Athleticism, as I said, to get back and tackle. Yeah, just brilliant. And who knows what's going to happen this season when he's going to stay at the club, but I'd love to think he would. I think he's class. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
If you're ever going to put something on your betting slip on a Saturday, it would be for Jeff Lerma to get one of them. Pretty much came in on my bet builder every single time. But do you know what? That was a big signing for us, Steve. If I can remember, it was the one that Jeff Mustin and Eddie were really trying to get over the line. Yes, it cost 25 million in the end, but Eddie was looking for that type of player when we went into the Premier League. Someone that had bite like Harry Arter, someone that had, you know, who had aggression, could turn over the ball, and then those attacking players he was going to bring in to take us on technically to the next level. He knew that he had protection, and that was the one position he was trying to fill. And I think he got that more or less right with Jeff Lerma. Yeah,
I'd agree with that. I think, as we were just speaking about Harry Arter and how much he was, what a good player he was and how fundamental he was. And I was always a bit sceptical that he would, you know, you'd meet the standards that also that level that Harry brought to the game. But Jeff certainly stepped into those boots and filled them, you know, then what big boots to fill. And, you know, like you said, he he filled the yellow card quota that Harry had as well. So he sort of ticked a lot of boxes. The other thing, I mean, when he did score goals, like you said, he didn't score many or hasn't scored that many. I'm sure he'd like to score more, but he certainly picked his moments, didn't he? For spectacularness of goals. I mean, I remember that one I know we lost to Palace in that game, but that one against Palace was just beautiful. I think it did it one of those ones that come off the underside of the bar, wasn't it? I mean, what can I say more about Aaron hasn't said about Jeff? He's all over the place. He, as in, covers all over the pitch. Not he's a complete mess, but he covers everywhere on the pitch. He's class. The one thing he hasn't mentioned, Aaron didn't mention, was Jeff's little bit of shithousery that he likes to put in, which I do like that. That the one that springs to mind is the Spurs. Was it Son? The little stamp on his foot. I can think of the Watford one more recently when he's gone for a piggyback off of whoever it was. And those sorts of things, you talk about fine margins. Look at both of those games. We ended up winning both of those games against the odds, really, and purely down to Jeff's little bit of shithousery, as we call it. So yeah, great player.
Rent free. We live rent free. There we have it then. They're the 4 contenders. All the talking's been done. This is your 1-minute warning. Who are you going to pick? Are you going to agree with myself, Aaron and Steve? Who's going to take those 2 positions in centre midfield? Okay, so we're going to do one centre midfield position first, and I'm going to go first because I've stitched myself up way too many times in this series, and all great players, all played a part in our history, of course. I'm just going to get it out there, and Harry Arter is AFC Bournemouth, and he has that technical ability, left and right, scored great goals, passion, put that shirt on. No matter the situation, he was on that field and he left that field, leaving it all on there. And I'm going to go for Harry Arter. And over to you, Aaron, because you let Steve kick off.
So we're going for the other first position, correct?
Yeah.
I'm going to make it very easy because I'm also going for Harry Arter. As with all these episodes, you could pick any of them because they're all legends at the football club, and even the ones that didn't make the cut. But Harry had everything, the whole journey, literally from start to finish, the ability to bring anything to that midfield, dying for the cause, and ability, aggression. For me, Harry Arter.
Can I limit you to one word, Steve?
Yeah.
Or 2? Who are you going to pick?
It's a clean sweep, mate. I can't look past him as the first option. There you go.
Okay. So in midfield, doesn't matter where he goes, whether he goes alongside Pewey or Richie, he's not bothered. He'll play left or right. Harry Arter's in there. So there we have it. We have one more spot left in centre midfield. And I'm going to go first again. All right. And people have said, you know what? I'm going to switch it up, make it a bit different, go for something you're not expecting. Absolutely love Jefferson Lerma. Gave us his Wolves top when we lost 2-0 in a wet and windy day. Going to love him forever. Andrew Surman, probably someone that deserved more respect at times. And I'll probably say I criticised him at times. But you know what? Looking back, especially in that championship season, he was the glue to everything that we did. And definitely a great player. But do you know what? Steve said all along, and other people have said, that if it wasn't for the -17 and where we were in League 2 and League 1, and Danny Hollands, for someone who's made so many appearances, I'm going to stick him in there as my first vote, because people have said, are we picking the best team? No, we're picking a team that has everything. So my vote is going to Danny Hollands. So Steve, coming to you first now. How are you going to play this out? Danny Hollands is the first vote for that second position.
Yeah, I find this incredibly hard. I'm kind of going to go back on what I said about I'm not trying to cause Aaron the Simon Cowell situation, but I have thought long and hard of this, and I just think it was between Hollands and Lerma for me, and I've just erred on the side of Lerma. I can't really give you a reason why, but just because I think he's class, and he's probably, like Aaron said earlier, he's probably the best midfielder we've seen play at the club.
So 1 vote for Danny Hollands and 1 vote for Jeff Lerma. So Aaron, over to you. It's all on you.
Okay, so I'm not gonna really throw a spanner in the works and go for Drew Surman. We spoke about him and all his qualities, but I'm not going for him. So the decision is, as you say, to someone who, for me, epitomises my years growing up watching the club, lower leagues. Or, as Steve said as well, probably the best midfielder we've ever had at the club, one of them. And I think what's interesting is that obviously the team so far, bar Nathan Ake, has been very much that championship team. So whatever I choose is not going to go with that. But I'm going to go for Jeff Lerma. I do think that someone who, like Nathan Ake, has only been involved in our Premier League era. Harry Arter for me does also represent that lower league period. I love Danny Hollands to bits, but my vote is for Jeff Lerma.
Do you know what? You nearly got a yellow card for time wasting then, just to keep us hanging. But no, I'll rescind it. You ain't booked. Do you know what? He is our most expensive player, and he is an absolute legend in my eyes in the short term he's been here. And do you know what? You've done the right thing there, guys. And you put Jeff Lerma in. So Jeff Lerma takes that position in centre midfield. Looking very familiar again, guys. And that midfield is Pugh, Arter, Lerma, Ritchie, ahead of Daniels, Ake, Steve Cook, Francis, and Arter Boric. What a team, eh, Steve?
Yeah. I mean, it's like Aaron said, it's very much the championship side, but with those couple of really classy acts that we've had in the Premier League seasons in Jeff and Nathan. Yeah, I mean, I did say at the outset of this whole thing, I got a funny feeling how this is going to sort of pan out, but it is kind of as I think many people will have predicted, panning out. But yeah, what a team so far.
A lot of people would have paid a lot of money to go to the Euro final or any Euro games, Aaron. I mean, what sort of money would you pay to see that team play, even though we ain't finished it yet?
Yeah, a lot. I'd pay the money to see any team play at the moment, to be honest with you. But yeah, no, it's just got everything about that. Two quality additions to what was already an incredible team. Obviously strikers are to come, and I'm sure we'll be mixed up in that as well.
And we've only got to do the last easy part, and that's pick the 2 strikers. But that is to come in episode 8. Aaron, thank you for joining me on episode 7.
Thank you. As always, been a pleasure.
Steve, same again. Thank you very much.
Cheers, guys.
And thank you to the Bournemouth fans for checking out this episode. We've had some really good comments and feedback on all the other episodes. We're loving it. We check every single one and we do comment as well. So let us know your thoughts on this one. Are you happy with the 2 midfielders that have been picked? Did we miss anyone? Because if we have, put them in the comments. Also subscribe to our channel as we go through pre-season. We'll try and drop some updates throughout the club where we get them, and also give this video a like. But that is it. Look out for episode 8 to complete the team when it drops. But from me, Aaron and Steve, we'll see you soon on the next video. Up the cherries.